I used to think freedom meant having millions of dollars to be able to do whatever you want, buy anything you want, and go anywhere you want. But the truth? You can run as far as you want and still feel trapped. In this video, I'm going to show you how I found true freedom and how you can too. Somewhere between the chaos of embarkation day and the stillness of a sunrise at sea, living on cruise ships has taught me that geography isn't just where you live, it's how you live. Hey y'all, if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. I'm Linnell. I sold everything and now I live on cruise ships full time. If this video is a blessing to you, I want to encourage you to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and then turn on notifications. Hit the bell for all notifications so that you never ever miss another video. And follow me on my journey from poverty to paradise. Before this life, I lived in a beautiful house with a nice vehicle and a steady paycheck. From the outside, it looked like success. But inside, it felt like noise. Bills, traffic, routines. That version of freedom was a treadmill disguised as stability. And I was sprinting every single day without ever moving forward. I think a lot of us are this way. We tell ourselves, once I retire, once the kids are grown, once I have enough money, all the things, right? But the more I traveled, the more I realized that freedom doesn't wait for the perfect conditions. It shows up the moment you make one brave decision to step outside the life that keeps you small. The day I made the decision to live full-time on cruise ships was amazing. I was sitting in my bedroom in my daughter's house, and I became so full of excitement. I wasn't scared about where I was going. I was scared because for the first time in my life, I had no plan for the future. I knew my immediate plans as I had already set up my first set of cruises. They were booked and paid for. But I had no idea if this life would be sustainable or how long I could do it. Would I be able to do it for 3 months, for 6 months, for a year? I had absolutely no idea. I've walked by faith in many areas of my life in the past, but this was totally different. And yet, when I stepped on Independence of the Seas, which was the official start of me living full-time on cruise ships, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Space. Not physical space, mental space. Every wave, every sunrise, every unfamiliar port reminded me that freedom doesn't have to make sense to anybody else. It just has to make peace to me. The first lesson that I learned, the space you live in shapes the space in your mind. Living on cruise ships taught me that your surroundings speak to you every single day. When I lived on land, my house whispered responsibility. My car said, hurry up. My alarm clock screamed, not enough time. But my cabin, it said rest. People assume that a small cabin feels limiting, but the smaller my physical space became, the larger my peace of mind grew. Every item that I owned had a purpose. Every decision that I made it with intention. Freedom isn't always found in expansion. Sometimes it's found in the quiet corners of simplicity. If your environment constantly reminds you of who you used to be, change it. Because peace has a geography too, and sometimes it's just waiting for you to move. Which I'm going to do right now because they just turned up the music. The second thing I learned, momentum creates perspective. When you live at sea, you stop measuring life in miles and you start measuring it in moments. The constant movement rewires how you think. On land, every day looks almost the same, but on the ocean, every sunrise feels different. Like life is saying, look again. Movement forces you to adapt. You can't control the tide, the schedule, or even the weather. You just learn how to flow with it. And that's freedom. Realizing that you don't have to control everything and it's still gonna be okay. Even if you never leave your hometown, you can still create movement. You can drive a different route, you can walk a new path, you can sit somewhere new, because every time your surroundings change, your perspective does too. The third lesson that I learned, freedom isn't a location inside of you. There's something about standing on the deck of a ship, miles from land, when you can't see anything but water and sky. That's when you realize how small you are and how peaceful it can feel. For years, I thought freedom was something that I earned once I had enough money. But the truth is, freedom isn't earned, it's allowed. You allow yourself to slow down. You allow yourself to stop proving your worth. You allow yourself to be content without explanation to anybody else. The ocean became my mirror. It showed me everything I was holding on to, and it gave me permission to finally let it all go. I used to tell my kids that you teach people how to treat you. While at sea, I've learned that I had to teach myself how to treat me, how to tell my inner being that It's okay to be retired early and not feel guilty. It's okay to love who you are, and that doesn't make you a selfish person. It makes you a better person. Since learning this, I've become a better person. I become a better mom. I become a better grandmom. I become a better friend. I become a better everything. My fourth lesson, less space equals more life. When I did my first internship in Illinois back in 2013, I lived in an extended stay hotel for 4 months. I got a little taste of what I'm learning now. I knew that I could live in a tiny space and not only be content, but I could be happy. Every time I pack my bags for a new cruise ship, I'm reminded that I can fit my entire life into 2 suitcases. No clutter, no storage units, no just in case stuff. And you know what's funny? I don't miss a thing. When you own less, you worry less. When you worry less, you live more. And when you live more, you realize how much of your old life was built around maintaining things you didn't even love. You don't need a cruise ship to live simply. You just need to stop filling your space with things that don't reflect who you are now becoming. Lesson 5, freedom requires boundaries. This one probably surprised me the most, because living on cruise ships means constant temptation, endless buffets, nonstop entertainment, new faces every week. But even paradise needs boundaries. I used to try to go to every show, and I would check off my daily schedule to make sure that I didn't miss none of the activities, especially if it was dancing. Now I've learned that freedom doesn't mean saying yes to everything. It means choosing what truly serves your peace. For me, that meant protecting my mornings for one, guarding my quiet time, saying no when my body and my spirit was saying no, because you can't feel free when your time belongs to everybody else. People ask me all the time, oh, aren't you going to go to the comedy show? Aren't you going to go to this show? Aren't you going to go to the 80s thing? And I tell them, no, I don't care if I miss a show. I ask them, when you are in your hometown, do you go to every show that comes to town? Do you go to every concert? I don't go to everything that happens on the cruise ship. When you're in your hometown, do you go to every football game? Go to the stadium for everything that they have? Do you go to go see every comic that comes to your comedy house? No. And living on cruise ships, this is my home. I don't need or want to go to every single event. I'm happy with the routine that I have, and just like living on land, if something comes up that I want to see, I go see it. If it's something that's included, great. If it's something that maybe I want to spend an upcharge for and go to maybe specialty dining, I go to it.
When I got tired, I slept. When I got hungry, I ate. When I had to go, I went.
Lesson 6, freedom is peace, not pleasure. Before I started this journey, I used to think freedom meant excitement, adventure, noise, constant motion. But the longer I've lived this life, the more I've realized that freedom is found in stillness. For me, it's eating chocolate-covered strawberries on the lanai while the ship glides through the calm water. It's listening to an audiobook with no schedule to keep. For me, it's the kind of joy that doesn't need validation. Pleasure fades away. Peace stays with you. And once you've tasted that kind of freedom, you stop chasing everything that can't match it. Lesson 7, freedom grows with gratitude. In my early videos and early on in my journey, paradise to me was different destinations that I was going to. They were the beautiful ports of calls where I could see the palm trees swaying, I could enjoy a nice breeze, and I could swim in the warm tropical waters of the Dominican Republic or Grand Cayman. But since then, I know that my paradise is wherever I find my inner peace. For me, gratitude is what turns any place into paradise. I've learned to be grateful for the tiny things, like a clean cabin, a kind smile from a crew member, or a quiet sunset. When you live surrounded by constant change, gratitude grounds you. And the more grateful I became, the freer I started to feel. Because gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's already here. And once you start seeing the good, your entire world expands, no matter how small your space is. Lesson 8, freedom is contagious. People often tell me, you are living my dream. And that really humbles me every time I hear it. But I've come to realize that I'm living my truth, and truth looks different for everyone. Freedom is contagious. When you live in alignment with what brings you peace, people notice. They start asking questions, rethinking their own paths, and realizing that they have options too. That's the beauty of it. You don't have to convince anyone to change. Just live your freedom out loud, and others will feel it. So what did cruise life teach me about freedom? That it's not about the miles you travel, the money you make, or the things you own. It's about alignment. It's about creating a life that feels as calm inside as the ocean looks outside. You don't have to live on a cruise ship like me to find that feeling. You just have to be brave enough to step away from what keeps you stuck and step towards whatever brings you peace. Because freedom isn't found on a map. It's found the moment you stop waiting for permission to live.